Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you are new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds in 3 years. If you'd like to join the family, hit that subscribe button down below. Also, click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the discussion, you can join me most weekdays where I go live around 4 p.m. Central Time, or outside of my live stream on YouTube, you can consider joining the Discord I created. There is a link for that down in the description below. Also, down in the description below is a link to a Pinterest board. Many times I get asked, what are you eating to lose all this weight? Well, the Pinterest board is a great place to see the different meals that I've been enjoying on my weight loss challenge or during my weight loss challenge. Today is day 807 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet, and extended water fasting. I said that backwards than how I normally do it, to lose over 235 pounds. I have right around 10 and a half months left to go on my challenge, or 9.5 months. No, I guess it's all the way through. So I guess it is at the beginning of the 11th month. So do I have 10 and a half months? I think I have 10 and a half months left. Maybe I only have 10 months, 9.5 months left, maybe. I don't know. I'm getting to the end. October 31st, 2023. I need to hit my goal of 219.8 pounds. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I love hearing those as well. If you're struggling with your diet, what is causing your struggles? If you are succeeding with your diet, what's causing your success? Share it with everybody. Let us know. At the end of the day, what are you doing to make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Let's go ahead, get over onto the main screen here. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. We have some amazing people in here. Let's see. Cindy, hello. Pretty Girl's mom says, happy Monday, everybody. Is it Mega Veggie Chili Day? It is not Mega Veggie Chili Monday today. Carrie has an abundance of chickpeas that she had soaked and cooked or got ready to be used that we need to use. So we are going to have chickpea tikka masala for dinner tonight, I believe here. Let's see, what is everybody else having for dinner here? Barb says she's having Mega Veggie Chili. Pretty Girl's mom says you had Chef AJ's caramelized onion, potato, and cabbage for dinner. That sounds delicious. I might end up having that in the next month. We'll see. Cindy says that she had lunch leftovers for dinner. That's always awesome having leftovers, especially if you can get some of those flavors to marinate even more than they were before. But looks like you had some leftover veggie stir fry with brown rice. Let's see here. Yes, Pretty Girl's mom, that does sound good. How was it? She says she loves it. Awesome. So Carrie saying that yes, we're splurging on the chickpea tikka masala because she has a large bowl of chickpeas that need to be used. Note to self, buy freezer bags, Carrie says. Hello, Stephanie. And Pretty Girl's mom's asking, yes, we are. Well, Carrie is doing the Chef AJ's reboot. I guess I am going to be sort of like a secondhand smoker. I will be receiving the Chef AJ reboot secondhand because Carrie will just be making her meat, whatever she makes for herself or whatever she's planning on having, I'll end up having. So I'm not doing the reboot myself, but Carrie is doing the Chef AJ reboot. I believe there are a few other people here doing the reboot too. So I'm excited to see how people do on it. Let's see here. Lots of hellos. You think it's 10 and a half months? I'm not sure. AJ Vintage here says you love tikka masala. Yes. We do enjoy it, but we don't have it a lot because of the coconut that is in it. I believe somebody's mentioned many times something we could use as an alternate to coconut, and I don't think we ever do. And Barbara here says to be sure to listen to today's Chef AJ show with Dr. Pie. Is that a PAI? I can't read it. My eyes aren't as good as I thought. And Pretty Girl's mom says the reboot's definitely better secondhand than smoking. And Cindy is saying that you should check out the Chef AJ show today. So I'll have to check that out. Maybe I'll listen to it on my way home from work today. I've listened to different audio bits, and that might be something worth listening to. Yeah, it's going to be interesting doing the reboot tomorrow, or Carrie's doing the reboot. But like I said, that kind of translates into me doing a little bit of a reboot too. She got all geared up. She let me know that she ordered 12 bags of broccoli from the store. I'm sure that the people that were helping fulfill her order kind of were a little bit curious as to why somebody was in need of 12 bags of broccoli. But we're gearing up, getting ready for the reboot, which should be great. Real quick here, I can go over food from the weekend. We had some amazing food this weekend. Yeah, Carrie says that the 12 bags should get us through the first few days. Yeah, it sounds like we're going to be eating lots of vegetables. Eat your vegetables. Let's see. I might go through these photos as I go. So I did not take a food photo from dinner Friday night. Oh my. I am gonna go crazy. I don't know what we had for dinner Friday night. Maybe Carrie can remember, but I did not take a food photo here. Let's see. I got to turn it on to get it to work. That makes a difference. All right. So I don't have Friday night's dinner. I don't know why I don't have Friday night's dinner, but I don't have Friday's dinner. So food from the weekend here Saturday morning was our standard oatmeal. Big close up, a little smell-o-vision photo for you here of the oatmeal that we have every morning. A little bit of oat groats, a little bit of steel cut oats, some onions, spinach, and mushrooms. Amazing breakfast. Love it every time. Pretty Girl's mom says vegetables for breakfast. Yes. Rick says he eats a bag of broccoli every day. I just about do too now. It's becoming that way. And in fact, on Saturday, here is a photo of my potatoes and my almost full bag of broccoli. It's amazing how when we're at home on the weekend and the kids are eating, how Carrie gets a full bag of broccoli, but I end up having to share my broccoli with the little rugrats that run around the house. So it wasn't a full bag of broccoli, but it was a mostly full bag of broccoli. I've really been enjoying the potato and broccoli that we've had recently. I have been putting a little bit of the California balsamics vinegars in it, and just adding that little bit of flavor. And the one that I ended up using here, I think we ended up using the rest of the 7-herb Italian vinegar that we had. We had just gotten like a little sample bottle of it. And so we used all of that up, I finished using that up on Saturday in my potatoes. Really great flavor to that. Carrie's favorite that we got right now is the curry. She really liked the curry that we got as a sampler. AJ's asking, do you put anything on the broccoli? I just kind of started to. I would say for like the last 3 months, we've had broccoli most weekdays for lunch. Potatoes and broccoli is kind of a standard for us for lunch. And it wasn't really until like last week, Carrie got these new flavors from California Balsamic that I've really added any flavors. I don't think it needs it, but it does. I don't know. It's nice to have a little bit of flavor with it there. Carrie said on Friday we had brown rice, stir fry veggies, and the balsamic vinegar. Okay, and we used the teriyaki balsamic. Yeah, she went crazy. Bought a couple large bottles, like a medium bottle of one called Sweet Heat, and then we got 2 little sampler bottles that we tried. Then on Saturday evening we had our favorite. Everybody knows the polenta with white beans and mushrooms. This was dinner Saturday evening. Amazing every time we have it. I love this meal. Such great flavors. The nutritional yeast in the polenta adds great flavor. The vinegar in the vegetable mix has an incredible flavor, and everything together is just awesome. So I got tons of photos here. I think this is actually there's the first serving, and then there's my plating of the second serving. I had 2 servings of this on Saturday for dinner. Just an abundance of food. You know, this is what it looks like all mixed together. This is how it looks when I actually get to eating it, not the nice, beautiful plated picture like this. So that was, AJ says, cool, you have some California balsamic bottles to try that. Yeah, I really like them. Again, my diet, I eat, no added salt, oil, or sugar with my diet. And I really am surprised at how good the potatoes and broccoli were without the vinegars. But it is nice to have a little bit of a change, have a little bit of flavors here. So yesterday morning, Sunday morning breakfast, again, standard oatmeal, mushrooms, onions, and spinach with oat groats and steel cut oats. Yesterday for lunch, look at that. Surprise, surprise. Potatoes and broccoli. Yesterday, I did kind of mix it up a little bit with the vinegars yesterday. We had the teriyaki out, but then I ended up putting a little bit of teriyaki, but I added a lot of the Sweet Heat because I really like the flavor of the Sweet Heat. So that was yesterday's bowl of potatoes, and these are not small bowls of potatoes. I mean, this is probably 4 or 5 decent sized potatoes that's in here. Then dinner last night was Spanish rice, and it was amazing. Awesome. Great dinner last night. We did not put beans in it. Carrie decided that we're not going to eat beans for a little bit, or we're going to reduce the beans that we might eat. I say that after I said we're going to have chickpea tikka masala that's filled with chickpeas. Are those a bean? I think they're a bean. They're cannelli, no. Garbanzo bean, right? Yeah, garbanzo bean. And Carrie says we have another order all the way with the California balsamic because she loved the curry flavor so much. She made another order so we could get a bottle of that. Let's see. And where do we find the polenta? I believe she might buy it at Natural Grocers, but I'm not sure if that's where she gets it. It is Natural Grocers in the bulk aisle, she says. We also use corn grits, which is what she used this weekend. So it's not always polenta. Sometimes it's corn grits, but it really ends up being about the same. Spanish rice and beans, or no, Spanish rice, no beans. Last night was awesome. I'll talk about it a little bit, but it's going to be talking about something else I want to talk about. So we'll go back to that later on here. Let's see. Yeah, if we're out there. So if you guys follow my Instagram, I don't know if you follow my Instagram or not, but I did post an update photo on the Instagram, and I figure while I got the phone going here, I should go through and show you some of the update photos that I took. So let's see here. This one here. Yeah, it had been a while since I'd done any photo, did any updating, any photo side by sides. And, so last Friday I did some, and then I've been kind of messing with some of the images here. So let me pull this back up, and there is a side by side comparison from when I started to now. I really don't want to mess with my screen size, but I want to make the picture bigger. So let's see how that goes. So yes, that is my starting weight. There is 519.8 pounds. The weight on the right, I am 283.8 pounds. So there's a 236 pound difference between these two photos. And I ended up feeling brave enough that I decided to take a few topless or shirtless photos here. And so here is a side-by-side comparison from when I started to now. And it's really incredible. You know, just, I mean, the physical difference, the look between the two is dramatic, but the actual being that person and feeling the physical difference between the first photo and the last photo is even more amazing than the photo may show. Just being able to get around to do things, just everything is looking good. Hey, Carrie, I don't need you to call me out on my straight arm there. Doctor said it was okay. So yeah, I took a few photos and put them side by side here. There's shirt on photo. Here's a front facing photo here. Just like, I look at like where my forearm is, like right at my elbow or right below my elbow, kind of where the scars are from my, how the fat around my waist is so inflated that when you look at the photo on the right, there's this big gap of air between my elbow and the actual rib cage. But in the original, you know, in my starting weight, like my arms wouldn't even go down as far, like as straight down as they are, like in the photo for me to actually pose like I am in the heavyweight photo, I need to have my arms out a little bit, you know, because everything deflated underneath my arms. But yeah, it's just amazing to the difference and the feel on the difference there too. And then I did take one photo here. Here's a real sucked in photo there. It's not the best angle, but anyways, yeah, just some photos I took. This is, oh my, that was a quick shot at my desk. But yeah, just these were all photos I was messing with, trying to get things. I gotta quit doing that. Looking at my desk. There we go. Get that back to normal. So yeah, anyways, it was fun taking the photos. I'm really happy with the progress that I've seen. If you don't follow my Instagram, go over to Instagram. It's at Fasting. I posted the photo on Instagram there. If you get a chance to go over there and like that photo there. So the topic I wanted to talk about today, you know, start making your health a priority. And I got thinking about this cycle that we get into, this addictive or this addiction cycle that we get into with food, you know, and it's a little bit different because it's food versus maybe a drug. But we need to start making health a priority, and we need to start doing it with our actions and not just our words. Many of us go out and say, I'm going to start a diet. I'm going to do this. It's all lip service, but you need to actually get action in place. But we get caught in this, well, I'm going to call it an addiction cycle. And I feel like it starts, you know, shortly after you indulge, maybe not like right after, but shortly after you indulge, you get this motivation to change. And it's really easy to have all of that motivation right after you indulge. You know, it's almost like an alcoholic taking a shot of liquor and putting it on the bar and saying, I'm not drinking anymore. Well, it's really easy to say, I'm not going to eat junk food anymore when you just ate junk food like 10, 20 minutes earlier. And so you get into this, you know, you get motivated, you get this motivation to change, and that motivation is super easy to have because you just relapsed. You know, it's much harder to be motivated 10 or 12 months or 25 months down the line than like right after you just indulged. It's very easy to say, oh, I don't need this. Well, you're full of whatever you needed from it. And so it's easy to kind of hype yourself up, and you end up becoming your own hype man, and you hype yourself up and you say, you can do this, get started, get it going, you can do it. And you get excited and you do the things and you start and you say, okay, today's the day. Monday morning, I've started. I'm on my diet now. I'm getting in the car. I'm going in to work. But over time, the further you get away from that indulgence you had, the relapse you had, the further away you get from that, you start fighting yourself, and you have to fight the urge to give in to your temptation. And like I said, as time goes on, it gets more and more difficult, and you're continuing to fight with yourself, and you might even be fighting harder with yourself the further you get away from that indulgence. And so then you've gone from being a hype man to get yourself started on this diet, that now you're your enemy. You're starting to become your own opponent on this diet, and you keep fighting until this justification stage starts. And I think the initial part of the justification stage might start because internally you want to stop the fighting that happens. When you see, if you have two kids that are fighting, you want to try to stop the fight. If you two coworkers are fighting, you want to try to, people want to try to keep the peace. And you do that in your own mind. You got one half of your mind screaming, stay on your diet. You got the other half of your mind saying, whatever it needs, it's the justification to start eating. And you are trying to find a resolution to this dispute. And so you start with the justifications. You start saying, well, you have to eat something, I can't not eat something, or what's just one more time? What is it, what I've done, or I've done so good for the past week, or I've done so good for the past hour or the past month or the past 3 months, that I deserve it. You start these justifications. And it goes on and on until finally you start to go, from fighting yourself to it becoming a reward to do these things, and if I've done so good and I deserve it. So now I'm rewarding myself with this indulgence, this relapse. And so now you went from fighting yourself to rewarding yourself. So now you've gone from your hype man to your opponent. So now you're kind of your own little mini, maybe anti-hero. Like you're helping out the side of you that you don't want to win when you started this, but that hero comes in and gives you the justification, gives you that, whatever you need to indulge, whatever mental thing you need to indulge. And so then you relapse, and right after you relapse, a lot of us go into this depressive kind of upset mentality that, that you've made that bad choice again. I was never going to do this. I did so good for so long, and then I made that bad choice. And now what am I going to do? And that's when you start judging yourself and you become your own judge. And we're really hard on ourselves. So in this whole process, you've gone from being your hype man to your opponent to your hero, and now you're your own judge. And usually that we're so hard on ourselves with our judgments that the only way for us to get out of how bad we feel for ourselves is to have that hype man inside of us come out and say, you can do it, buddy. You got it. And so we get back into the cycle. We go from judging ourselves to the hype man coming back. And then the hype man's there till he starts fighting with himself. And then you relapse and you do, it's this cycle that we go over and over and over. And you have to find a way to get out of that cycle. And you have to find a way, instead of going from your hype man to your opponent, you have to go from your hype man to your teammate, to your support, your like your teammate. You have to find a way to continue to support yourself and not be hard on yourself and start that judgmental part. But I think that it's the justification stage. And I was looking into kind of drug and alcohol relapse when I was looking into this. And it seems like that justification stage, maybe in the alcohol stuff or the drug, they call it kind of the mental relapse stage, where you start making future plans to relapse, or you start, looking for opportunities to eat off your diet. Or you start reassessing the value that you would put on staying on your diet. So you start thinking, well, maybe losing weight isn't as important as it was when I was 520 pounds. Now that I'm 280 pounds, maybe it's not as important as it was then, or you may try making those poor food choices seem less damaging. Like I said, you think about I've been good for 3 months. What's one meal? It's not as damaging as it was on day one if you would have had that meal. And like I said, I think the solution is that you need to become your own teammate, and you have to work towards helping yourself win constantly towards your goal of losing weight. And like I said, it's that justification stage. And what I think I'm working towards, or I'm getting closer to, is that I've just been able to eliminate the justification stage and have decided that there will never be a justification for me to go back and eat animal products again. There's never a justification for me to go into the gas station and buy a soda again. And it's hard to get to that point. And I'm getting to that point now after over 2 years, because I fought with tooth and nail with myself the whole second year with the staying on diet, getting off diet, staying on diet, getting off diet. And it was because I continued to allow some form of justification. And what I'm learning, and what I think many of you guys who've been following me have found, is that abstinence really helps with this. Is that to get, like I said, you remove any justification for added sugar. You remove any justification for dairy products, any justification. And so then I only had to make that decision one time. I don't get caught up in having to go back over and over and over and doing that. But I think in terms of dieting, what I think happens to many people is that you start this justification stage because you're under eating, because you're not giving yourself enough calories. You're not getting enough food in your body, that you have to, your body fights you and fights you until it can find a justification for you to eat something. And to avoid that, I truly believe that this diet is the solution. Eating a whole food, plant-based diet is the solution to fighting yourself constantly about food. Because I did it for years and years with all of the different diets I've tried, and they all ended with the same result of me succumbing to a temptation and never going back, never even hesitating, and it's really, difficult here. There was a couple, Cindy here says, we think you have to find other things as treats instead of food. Yeah, absolutely. We use food as a reward, and we wouldn't tell an alcoholic to use alcohol as a reward, or somebody who smokes cigarettes to use cigarettes as a reward for not smoking for 2 months or not having a drink for 2 months. You wouldn't tell people, let's go have a drink, and that's what we do with food, though. We do it to ourselves. And food is just an interesting thing because it's I was talking to Carrie a little bit about this yesterday. And like, food is the one kind of thing that throughout time was a constant struggle for people. And so to be stressed about food, to be stressed about having to make food, about procuring food, about eating food, I think that it's as natural as the eating the food itself. Like, being stressed about food is a natural state for probably all creatures. Like, we all are, but in nature, that's how things are. We aren't in nature anymore, but we evolved from a species that was in nature. The other thing I wanted to talk about with the addiction cycle was dinner last night. So we had Spanish rice last night for dinner, and I was in town for a few hours working on some things, and then I was heading home, and I called Carrie, and I was like, hey, and it was really late. Like, I hadn't eaten dinner yet. I think it was 6 or 6:30 when I was heading home, and it'd been a while. And so I was hungry in my stomach. Like, I was getting hungry. So I called Carrie up, asked her what we were having for dinner, and she said Spanish rice. And my mind hasn't caught up with the idea that that's a meal. It's like the idea that a salad's a meal, that a big bowl of salad's a meal. My mind, it's getting better, but still, after 2 years, when Carrie says we're having Spanish rice for dinner, my mind kind of was like, well, what can I eat that's indulgent? What can I grab? Maybe if I go on the way home, maybe I can stop and buy some cashews at the store, or maybe go to the grocery store and buy some Lara bars, or get something that's going to be a little bit more than what Spanish rice is going to do for me. And this is what's going on in my head before I'm home. This is before I'm presented with the food, before I'm eating. It's while I'm hungry that I'm having these thoughts. And I was able to talk myself down or off the ledge, I guess, if you want to say that I was anywhere near a ledge with it. But I just had to I had to reassure myself that when I got home and I ate that Spanish rice, I was going to be satisfied. Because in my car, I had this inkling, this feeling that I wasn't going to be satisfied. So instead of having my opponent show up and try to justify going and grabbing a box of Lara bars, or going and getting something that's higher calorie dense than the Spanish rice was going to be, I became my teammate, and I said, hey, just give it a shot. Just get home, eat a bowl of it, and then make your decision if you need something indulgent. And that's what I did. I got home, I made a bowl of the Spanish rice, and I ate it, and I was so satisfied. After one bowl of it, I was like, man, I'm so glad I made this choice. I'm so glad I decided to just go straight home and eat the rice, instead of stopping at the grocery store and buying something. Because I was going to eat the rice either way, but I was going to stop at the store to maybe give myself some more calories. And I did give myself more calories when I got home, because I had a second bowl of rice. So I had lots of food. AJ says, wouldn't an apple or something before dinner help? Yes, but I think what happens is our minds go to the dopamine stimulus. So when we are, when we're craving food, or what I think most of our cravings end up being, is what our brain thinks that we can convince ourselves to go eat. So I never have a craving for steak and potatoes now. I never, or steak or cheeseburgers. I never have cravings for cheeseburgers, because my mind knows that it's a line that I will never cross again. Maybe I would have crossed it years ago, but in my mind, it's never going to get me to go eat animal products. But when I see the bag of barbecue potato chips in the break room, my mind kind of drifts towards that, because there's at least a chance that maybe I would eat that, but and so my mind, when I'm thinking, when I'm hungry or when I'm getting a craving, my mind isn't going to go to an apple. It should. And if I can get it to go to an apple, then that's ideal. But it's going to go to the highest dopamine response that it thinks I might indulge. And yes, just having food, it's something that Chef AJ talks about with some of her stuff. And what I talk about, like at the beginning of every one of my videos, I say, what are you doing to make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? And one of the things that we've talked about in the past is what we've called pocket potatoes. I've come to just enjoy just eating a plain potato, like an apple, and or having and so I guess what it is it's just having, maybe a grab bag in your car. Maybe you have a bag that you carry with you that has a couple apples or has a couple potatoes in it. Having food accessible to you to make staying on your diet easier than the alternative is insanely beneficial, and that would have made yesterday's experience easier if I would have had apples in my car, oranges in my car, something in my car to eat. But being my own teammate and encouraging myself to make it home, to eat the bowl of food, and then decide if I'm that hungry that I need to run back into town and get Laura bars or something. But it just took a little bit of convincing. And it's just interesting to me that even after 2 years, my mind is still trying to wrap around how good some of these foods I eat now are. I don't, I got into we actually got into a discussion at the table last night about this rice dinner, because something that I've mentioned many times in the past with people that follow me is that I hate rice, or I hated rice before starting this diet. I wouldn't ever order it. If I went to a Mexican restaurant and they had rice and beans with it, I would say, hey, just give me 2 servings of the beans. I don't need the rice. If I went to a Chinese restaurant, I would get the lo mein noodles instead of the rice. I just never liked rice. It was not a food that I would eat. It wasn't a food to me. And so we got talking about this last night, and one of my daughters laughed about it, and she was like, yeah, you used to hate rice. We never had rice until we started this diet, and now we have rice and I love it. My daughter was talking about how much she loved rice. And I was like, yeah, it's amazing how much rice I eat now. And, I got talking a little bit about the plain potato. Before I started this diet, the idea of taking a Yukon Gold potato, throwing it in the Instapot, cooking it, and then just taking it out, and I take a paper towel usually and wrap it in a paper towel so I don't burn my fingers. But walking around and eating a potato like an apple seemed so bizarre to me. Until now, 2 years later, when I do it like every day. Like I'm the weirdo in my office walking around eating a potato like an apple, and everybody looks at me funny. But it's not that weird to eat a plain potato. We probably had generations of our ancestors that only had access to plain potato, and that's what they ate. But then that got me thinking about rice, and how rice could probably be eaten plain like a potato is, but it just doesn't, until yesterday, 807 days of being on a plant-based diet, did it really even dawn on me of rice being a solo food, and in fact, my kids, I see them eat it all the time with a little bit of margarine in it and maybe some garlic salt. And I think man, it looks like just plain rice. It's so weird. But it could be a meal in itself. And that's kind of what that Spanish rice was last night. I mean, there was tomatoes and red peppers and some other seasonings and stuff in it, but it was still 90% just a bowl of brown rice. It wasn't, it was mostly just a bowl of brown rice. If I would have gotten rid of the tomato and the flavor, like it would still have been edible. I might not have been, super pleased with it, but there's probably people out there that just eat bowls of brown rice. And that idea, like I said, hadn't really crossed my mind until recently, or until yesterday when I was thinking about it. But yeah, so that even 2 years later, I still have that kind of struggle. And if you followed me up for a while, I've talked about the same thing with the salads too. Is when Carrie says we're having a salad for dinner, I kind of was, for a long time I was like, salad's not really a dinner, is it? But when you see the salads that we eat now, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm surprised I'm able to even eat all of that in one sitting, but I like it. Rebecca Tyler here says, you get that? You're not a big rice eater either. And yeah, well, I'm a much bigger rice eater now than I used to be. I don't have rice every day, but multiple times a week. I joke to say that in a week, I probably eat more rice now in 1 week than I did the entirety of my adult life, just because I really avoided it, like if it was inside of a burrito or inside of a meal, I would eat it, but I would never choose to have rice. Pretty Girl's mom said, I never had any idea how much you could love plain short grain brown rice prior to a year ago. Yeah. And I don't even eat any other rice but brown rice. Like I don't know what white rice tastes like, as weird as that is, but I've been eating a plant-based diet and we've only eaten brown rice because I think that brown rice is better for weight loss than white rice. And so I don't even know what white rice tastes like, but I really like the brown rice. And the same thing happens with the rice as with the oat groats. There's a satisfaction about that texture that I think that there's something instinctual with that. There's something about that breaking up those individual grains or individual pieces of the oat groat or the brown rice that's just so satisfying. And when you sit there and it slows down your eating process. Like last night while I was eating the rice, I was like, I'm going to try to like really go at this and really break it down. And it's been great. Rick here says you love brown rice. You have a rice cooker that you use. That's one of the kitchen appliances we don't have yet that I think probably would get purchased and we'd be happy with it. But yeah, we eat, not just me and Carrie, but a lot, like our kids eat an incredible amount of rice now. Like that is a huge staple in their diet is rice. And I'm happy that we have that as part of our diet now versus, what was used to be a staple in their diet was me going and grabbing a bag of candy at the grocery store on the way home. So, I'm very happy about giving them a little bit better shot at a healthy life than I had. So I think that's really about it I wanted to talk about today. Just that, Carrie says she can get one ASAP. Just say the word. I bet. Let's hold off. We just bought a Ninja. Oh, well, we didn't. I guess we got a Ninja Creamy for Christmas, but we just got a new kitchen appliance. I'm sure it would make life easier. And if we could teach the kids how to cook out of a rice cooker, that would be even slicker, huh? Yes. Yeah, I know they're cheap. I know most people say they're worth getting. We just haven't messed with it. I don't know if we have enough counter space. I think if we got a rice cooker, we'd have to buy a whole new house. So we had enough counter space for all this stuff we have. We have the Instapot. We have the the Ninja Creamy. We have the Breville 9-in-1 combo, whatever, toaster, oven, dehydrator, air fryer thing. And then, I'm trying to think of all the other appliances we picked up for this. Barbara says, go slow with the California balsamic. Yeah, I know. It's tough though, because it tastes so good. And sometimes though, I put it on there. One of the times I put it on there this weekend, I was like, I got like this weird, like, it's either I don't have enough or maybe I actually have too much. Like, it's a weird, like, because I worry that, because when you put too much in, you kind of know when like it's pretty apparent. But I always feel like I'm putting more in than I should, but it generally comes out okay. But yes. Let's see. Stephanie says, you used to cook brown rice in your rice cooker, but now you like the outcome using the Instapot rice setting. I feel like we've tried to do rice in the Instapot, and I don't care. Like, I'm not picky at all. I feel like our kids liked it more on the stovetop versus in the rice cooker. Like, they noticed a difference. And Cindy here says you should see all the cool appliances Plant Powered Peddler Janet has. You said you're jealous. Yeah, I saw. So, not to be outdone by, I believe that we also have 3 Instapots as well, I think. And I saw one of the videos that there was like 2 or 3 Instapots behind her. We do have 3 of our own Instapots too. So, we're kind of cool. But yeah, it's pretty fun. Trying, seeing what we can create with these new appliances too. Janet says it's your workshop. Your husband has all these tools in his wood shop or his workshop, and you realized you could use help in your shop, so you picked up some of your own tools. That's awesome. Carrie says the kids definitely like the stovetop rice over the Instapot rice. And let's see here. Yeah, I'll have to check, yeah, so it's good. So let me think. I think that was everything that I wanted to talk about. Really just it's this cycle that I think about a lot, about how many times I would fight myself about not stopping and eating fast food on my way into work, or have, no fast food that day. But then by lunch, I justified, I got to eat something. I don't have any food, I got to go get something. And then if I can't get anything healthy, I might as well go all out, like the number of times I did that, and the number of times where I finished eating that big meal or the stupid fast food meal that I bought. And I thought, all right, I can do this. Why did I just eat that? Come on, I need to start doing better. And you start trying to hype yourself up. And it's so easy to do that hyping right after you indulge. Like, that's what you have to realize, that a lot of times people get most of their motivation right after they just indulged in the thing that they're trying to motivate themselves away from. So, but yeah, I had a great weekend, and I'm looking forward to a wonderful week this week. I have my weigh-in on Wednesday. Carrie is starting the Chef AJ reboot tomorrow, so there will probably be some changes in the diet here for the next 30 days. I'm just realizing that might mean I'm not going to see my polenta and white beans or some of my favorite staples that we have right now for 30 days. So that's too bad. I should have savored that meal more this weekend, I guess. But it'll be good. It'll be wonderful to try new things. There was something that Plant Powered who said it? There was something that Pretty Girl's mom was talking about that they had that was a Chef AJ thing that sounded good. It was caramelized onion, potato, and cabbage, so maybe I'll have that to look forward to, and not the chickpea tikka masalas and the the other stuff that we've been having. So yeah, we got that going on with this week. So we'll see how that goes, see if that has any effect on my weight loss. And I'm hoping to see a good thing on the scale. So yes, everybody have a great day. Cindy, Barb, have a great evening. Everybody who's talked on here, AJ, Janet, everybody, all the regulars, Cindy, everybody, Barbara, Stephanie, everybody. Thank you so much for all of the support that you guys give me. It really helps with this whole thing. It does help keep me motivated, and keeps me on track to do this. So thank you so much. If you have not subscribed to my channel, make sure you get subscribed to my channel. If you've not clicked on the bell icon to get alerted when I go live or post new videos, make sure you do that. If you've not liked the video, commented down below, let me know what you do to escape that justification stage. What do you do to keep yourself on your diet? And if you have not started your diet yet, get started now. There's no reason to keep pushing it off. Start the diet now. Start the plans, clean the pantry out, buy the food, get the things in place so that you can succeed, because there's nobody that reaches their goals, looks back, and wishes they would have waited. Everybody looks back and says, I wish I would have gotten started sooner. I absolutely feel that way too, and I'm not even to my goal yet. So you guys have a great evening. Rebecca, Stephanie, everybody, AJ, yep, all have a great evening. We will see you tomorrow.